there's a couple times that we were quite proud. There was, if I may, just
Please.
tangent a little bit, Revelations with Heimdall,
Yeah.
right? Was it Heimdall? I think it was Heimdall.
Heimdall
Anyway,
was the first fully, well, technically, Freyr came through the Stargate, but
okay, fair
Revelations
enough. Yes,
was the first episode that we had fully CG Asgard.
and
And
I think it was the
wow.
first. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know, but from what I know, is it was the first kind of guest star CG character,
So in
fully CG.
fully CG, yeah. And I must correct myself. Asgard had been seen in specific shots earlier in the show, like Thor gets
Yeah,
out of his chair, he walks over, but he's very rudimentary. Heimdall, I'm pretty positive, was the first fully CG character introduced in the show. I'm racking my brain to make sure that's right. I'm pretty positive, and Teryl played
well,
him. So
Teryl did, and I
yeah,
remember doing motion capture with Teryl. It was really fun.
wow,
She has a dancing background, so
she
she kept
does.
making. There's a lot of flourish in the character. We had to kind of ask, okay, maybe not. We might want to tone that down a little bit. No, but what I'm referring to is, there was a CG Thor before that, and we had CG Asgard, but to have such a major role throughout the episode, there was a lot of shots, and it was the first one that we had done motion capture with, which was really fun. And it was the first one we had actually used high dynamic range lighting with. So this is a part of the evolution of the tool set. So we actually took the illumination from the set and used that to illuminate the character instead of faking it with our computer lights and spotlights and point lights and
That's when
trying to
that
figure.
the ball comes into play
you
there,
you use
right?
the spherical ball and you wrap that in your 3D environment. And if you do your HDR image correctly, you'll be able to source the intensity of the lights and the color temperature, and you could use it for reflections, obviously, which makes a huge difference. And so that was our first use of high dynamic range lighting, which became standard in the industry afterwards. I mean, we had been reading white papers, and this is what those guys are doing. Let's try it, and it was pretty groundbreaking for a TV series. Yeah,
It's a pretty extraordinary character.
yeah,
I remember watching it and just buying that he's there.
yeah.
That was the one thing that there were a couple things that I was thinking in this was, wow, they've finally gone there. Are they going to continue to do this? And also, they probably had realistically, a fair amount of money left over from previous episodes, so they were like, go for it.
Yeah.
He couldn't have been cheap to create.
No,
Because you're talking
no.
dozens of shots of him
Yeah,
standing alongside Carter and
yeah,
interacting with the character. My favorite scene from this is O'Neill reaches out his hand, and it's all done
yeah,
off camera
yeah, yeah,
for Heimdall to shake it, and Heimdall is like shaking him vigorously, and you don't see it on camera, but the
yeah.
implication is that he's just wagging his hand. It was a fun character, man, and Teryl must have
That
been a
that
blast.
and Richard Dean Anderson, he played that up a lot, which was really good. And I remember, I think it was Brad, right? Said, and please don't misquote me. I think it was said we want him to shake his hand, and we're just like, too much money. We can't interact with anybody. Okay, we'll do it off screen. We're still going to shake his hand, and that's where that came out of. So. um, but it was a great character. The mocap people that James Titchener found, it was again breaking ground for them because we had the set built and there was that giant ramp Teryl had to walk down, and they had to figure out how to capture that mocap coming down this big set remotely. Like this wasn't on their stage with their their setup. They had to come to our stage and set it up there and make it all work. And it worked beautifully. Like it was really good. We had to do a lot of animation fixes and tweaks to help blend things together. But at the end of the day, it was just really fun to do mocap and watch this character come to life. There's one shot in particular where Heimdall's looking at the pod, the human Asgard hybrid
Mm.
in cryostasis, and it's a shot on the glass, and the hand comes up and just goes down, and that's all you see. But there was so much feeling behind that, and they really ran with it, which we were happy with. it was a really fun thing to do.
When you look at a character like Gollum,
Yes,
um,
jaw-droppingly good.
jaw-droppingly good,
Yeah,
because you're making this human
yeah,
now an artificial thing. It's not a human
yeah.
being that you're seeing.
No,
The artistry of the human is coming through into this artificial thing and making us feel something back.
that's it.
My gosh, that's a leap,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Well, I mean, a lot of that is technology leaps, time, budget. I mean, Gollum, you have to get it right.
You
This is
have to
Lord of
get it
the
right.
Rings, and you know, if you don't get it right, no one's gonna like nobody is gonna want to watch it.
No.
So, but I remember watching that, and actually Heimdall was on my mind because I was like, I wish we had the budget for Heimdall to do that, you
But
know, because it was so good watching Gollum, all of the subtlety.
what you did, and I in my opinion is the greatest test of that character. Thor is on his back on some kind of, he's always occupied with something to hold him down.
Yeah,
And you have Heimdall walk beside him
yeah,
while O'Neill is with him, and
yeah,
the shot works. I,
yeah,
as an artist, would have been scared about that the most. It's like, okay, here's the physical puppet with the lighting in the room, and we've got a digital creature right next to him
yeah,
who is his brother. It's all intents and purposes. It looks, they're
yeah.
exactly the same. They don't even have different characteristics. You
No,
have to be able to, as an audience member, buy one as much as buying the other, because they are sharing the
yeah.
same space and the same lighting conditions. And it
And it was
worked.
fun, and it worked, and that was one of our, you know, oh dear God, I hope this works moments, and we thought it did. So, you know, thank you for that,
Yeah.
passing that you know back, because it was great. It was, and again, one of those episodes where there was a lot of like, okay, we're gonna do this, let's do it right.
Mm-hmm.
So we you know, I mean, there's a lot of sleepless nights, but it was well worth it, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What shots from the show do you remember took the most time? A, and B, cost the most money? And I've got a couple in my head that are some of my favorites in the show that I'd be interested to know if you were involved in. Um, and while your brain is noodling that, I will start. The scene in Full Circle
That was
where
one of them.
the pyramid explodes is one of the most extraordinary moments in the show, because emotionally we have to connect back to Abydos and the people who were on there in the movie. And you also have a physical miniature that is
That's it.
detonating, but
Yeah,
you have to sweeten it. You can't just
yeah,
have, because it's only, I mean, it's still like, I think it was still a 10 by 10 pyramid. It was huge.
yeah.
Were you there on set for that?
I wasn't on set for it, but we
Okay.
did end up doing the work of the subsequent shockwave going through the sand in the desert. So yes, we worked on that shot.
Thanks for watching this clip from Dial the Gate. If you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up. It's our goal to share a new Stargate story every day while we're on break. Please feel free to subscribe to future episodes here on YouTube. And if you have Stargate friends who might like this clip, let them know about us. Be sure to visit dialthegate.com to view the complete archive, as well as transcripts from past interviews. I'll see you on the other side.